Good morning. A blessed and happy Sunday morning to everybody. A new week, the first day of the week. A blessed new week. I'm trying to think where Habakkuk is buried. He's our prophet today. And there's a road not far from here. In fact, you see the hills up there behind the palm trees. So it's not that far up actually. And there's a memorial of his burial. No, I can't really say because this map is not made in that way. It's not made scientifically. So that's the first time I asked myself that question about Habakkuk and this map. But I was very surprised once hiking from here and reaching a place that claims to be the burial place of Habakkuk. It's a very short prophet. If you're one of those people that hasn't read all the Bible yet, but you want to claim you've read some books, read the book of the prophet Habakkuk, but it's very short. The lake has an interesting aspect this morning because of the cloud probably, and the way the light is hitting it indirectly from the sun behind the clouds. Let's get down there and see it a little closer up. I think you will appreciate that. We had a wedding here yesterday afternoon. Also have a group of guests from Texas, from Fort Worth. Fort Worth. Say that quickly. Fort Worth. Fort Worth. Very nice people with their pastor. Maybe we should just go down to the water edge. Let's see if that's viable. Thinking how to that. We could try this over this way maybe. But I see there's some water logging here, so it mightn't be possible. So Habakkuk, if you read the words of Habakkuk, what he's saying here in the very first words of the reading today, you'll think he was writing it today. How long, O Lord, I cry for help, but you do not listen. It's interesting, we're actually not just hearing words from a prophet, but we're actually watching the prophet praying to God. We're watching the prophet praying to God. We're listening to the prophet praying to God. Hear, O Lord, I cry for help, but you do not listen. So he's not just praying, he's also complaining. Now, that's all waterlogged here, so I'm not going down through that for sure. But let's see how far down we can get in some other place. You do not listen. And he's expressing from his heart his consternation, he's upset, he's seeing things that are horrible, and you can read those in the following verses. He's crying out violence, and we have no shortage of that on our television screens, on our news reports. So many sad cases of violence everywhere around the world. And situations that breed violence, situations of injustice. If you want peace, a harvest of peace, sow justice. If you want violence, be unjust, because you provoke people to violent action. There comes the sun for us. So much ruin. Why do you let me see ruin? Why must I look at misery? So if we add violence to misery and misery to violence, it's a very accurate picture of a lot of what's happening today in our world to a large portion of the world's population. Destruction and violence are before me. And we have, thanks be to God, we have that sense of how wrong that is. The day we didn't have sense how wrong it is to do violence, how wrong it is for people to endure and suffer misery, often caused by exploitation by others. There are oftentimes many complex reasons leading to misery. Kidnapping still goes on. Human trafficking still goes on. It's powered by major economic interests. Slave labor still goes on. We think we had the abolition of slavery. And this is our world, and we're listening and we're watching the prophet praying to God. And God answers him. And this is wonderful. What he answers. God has another vision of the things, completely in sync with the wrongness, that they are wrong, but there's going to be a solution. We can't affect the solution immediately. By the way, I wrote a journal article and I forgot. I meant every single day for the last week to tell you that the link is posted there. But maybe many of you have been keeping an eye on the notes, and you see the link about the detoxing our world, our society. Maybe you like to read that article. So yesterday, Cardinal Pizzaballa published an amazing letter in view of the emerging semblance of peace that's coming, or already the first step. If the offensive war has slowed down to become stabilized at the moment, holding positions in Gaza, giving peace a chance, the next step toward peace, because peace has a lot of work of maturity ahead in order to be peace. And this is the theme of Cardinal Pizzaballa's amazing letter. I hope it's available in English. I read it in Italian. This one was published first. I didn't look if there was a link for the English version, but there may already be. And it's a powerful word, exactly almost like Habakkuk, where there's so much violence and ruin and misery. And actually the message is very similar to this reading, calling for commitment, service, which is actually the next two readings, and calling for patience and hope, because it will take time to rebuild the very damaged relationships which have resulted from this war. But there is a vision. The motivations are very powerful. And the Cardinal is not writing into thin air. It's the members of the church here, a parish in Gaza, the Catholic parishes in the West Bank, have many, many restrictions at the moment that they didn't have a year ago. Many difficult situations I won't get into now. Very many new injustices inflicted. And asking the community for hope. And his remarks start in each of the different reflections, wishing for the return of the hostages and the reunion with their families, the healing of so much hurt. And I invite you all to pray for this like the prophet Habakkuk, because our prayer matters, our prayer counts. God hears our prayers. And would that we would now pray a lot to reinforce the work of the political leaders, the social leaders, to bring about this peace, this stabilization of ceasefire. And you can see why I couldn't really go down to the water over there, because it was all waterlogged. But I think I can go down here because this is pretty solid and I can see where I'm walking. And somehow it's in my heart all these weeks how to educate children and grandchildren toward peace. And the little conflicts that happen in family life. And for a 4-year-old, the conflict is very big if a sibling messes with their teddy bear. But learning to become people of peace in the little exercises. So when the big exercises come, and there's a major, major dispute between spouses, that they will find the way to work out their differences. And when the major differences come between owners of a company in joint ownership, it will find a way to do what will best protect the interests of all the stakeholders. And when there's big conflict later, and some of those children are going to be in political leadership, that they'll have the nerve and the ability to see the vision. God says to Habakkuk, there's a vision, and give it time. We cannot fix everything right now, today, this minute. I want it right now. The insistence for the right now solution many times is not viable. It's just not going to happen. And then what do? I get angry. I shout, I impose, I punch my fist on the table, I punch the other person's face, and it becomes violent. And to find the resources, to find the way to give time. I don't have to push my vision in this moment. I need to enter God's vision. And that actually transforms my heart, because now I have to become more patient, more gentle. If today you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. Don't rush to violent intervention, to violent demands. If today you hear his voice, to respect that image of God, image and likeness of God sitting beside you, speaking to you, crying before you. If today you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. And then we have much more to do, but I think we've done enough already. It's a lot. We'll continue at the Mass in an hour's time. commenting the letter to Timothy, which is beautiful, about the gift we've received from God to be able to serve others, to be part of the solution. And the gospel story is fascinating. So we'll get there, God willing, in an hour's time. People, see you later, alligators. God bless you. Here we are, on this beautiful Sunday morning at the Sea of Galilee.